Hello again, and this afternoon the MPP is moving swiftly to heal internal divisions following its presidential primary on Saturday, which saw former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia elected as the party's flag bearer for the 2028 general elections. Well, in the wake of the contest, all participating aspirants have publicly pledged their support for Dr. Bawumia, emphasizing unity and mutual respect as the party focuses on reclaiming power. In an interview with Joy News, Nana Komia, who is the chairman of Bawumia's campaign Communications Directorate, described these post-primary unity pledges as a crucial step in restoring cohesion within the party.
Call by the contestants themselves for unity is the first step towards unity. You understand? So these are the people who have been contesting against themselves for the last 6 months, making insinuations against each other, trying all they can to show that the other person wasn't good enough. So whatever division, anxiety, tension came primarily from the context. Now, when the contestants themselves now commit themselves to come together, that is the first requirement for unity. So it is a very happy situation.
Well, Nana Komia also stressed that the responsibility now rests largely on the flag bearer to take the lead in reconciling all factions and presenting a united front to the Ghanaian electorate.
Bearer would take the lead in getting everybody together and present one face to the country. That's what's going to happen. And the history also backs the position. Every time we've had a flag bearer election and a flag bearer is elected, the flag bearer, with the goodwill of the people who contested him, the flag bearer goes to everybody and gets everybody behind him. Fortunately for us at this time, it's even better because we have a bit of time. In the past, we had 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. We've never had 3 years like we have now. So I have every confidence that the party will come back together and prosecute one agenda.
Let's expand this conversation and go onto the telephone lines right now and engage political science lecturer at KNUST, Dr. Kwesi Amakye-Boateng. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. As a political scientist, though, how should the MPP as a party and Bawumia as a candidate approach the reconciliation process?
Let's take good the viewers don't have the opportunity. I like to believe that the way they conducted the presidential election, has started the reconciliation process. Given the responses that came from the contestants who lost, theoretically, in democratic election, it is a position of the losing candidate that either legitimizes the winner and go on to strengthen the party or otherwise. So given that they all accepted the outcome as free and fair, and that they are free, fair, and they are in that that healed the, that camp among the.
Dr. Amakye, I'm losing you. If you can kindly reposition yourself. I'm struggling to get what you're saying.
Okay. Let me see whether it's a little better now.
It is.
Good. So I will say that the acknowledgement of defeat, the contention of the other contestants, work function to legitimize Dr. Bawumia's position,
right,
and all begin the reconciliation because they all take support to work with whatever part going forward. So that is the beginning. But then they will build on. They want to build on. I see the path going forward, quicker.
Right. All right, Dr. Appiah Mensah, we're struggling to hear you, but we will come back to him. We're trying to reconnect him back on the telephone lines, but you're still watching the pulse here on Joy News, and we're discussing the fallout from the MPP presidential primaries that happened last Saturday that saw former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia elected again to lead the opposition MPP into the 2028 elections. Kennedy Japan, the former Asin Central MP, garnered a little over 23% of the votes, and we saw Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also getting a little over 56% of the vote. And meanwhile, Chairman of the Council of Elders for the MPP, Hackman Osuajiman, says the party's strategy to ensure unity does not matter so long as everyone works for the party. He spoke on Joy News Desk earlier.
Strategy is for me straightforward and simple. Whether whichever group you belong to, wherever constituency you are, police station you are, your job is to work for the advancement of the party. And I don't think there's a sort of strict laid down rule out where you start. Now we have a flag bearer who is very experienced and who is loved by the majority of the people of the party. They all come together and say that there were only 5, one was bound to win, and he's won. So we all gather together, him holding the flag, giving the necessary push, and then making sure that our party becomes more attractive. Whatever we did must have gone wrong in the past, we have to correct. As I said, a human institution, we are not infallible. We might have made a couple of mistakes, but believe you me, we are determined to work at all these problems so that we will become one solid, consolidated party that will ensure that we win and that will get the confidence of the Ghanaian population.
Well, let's go back to Dr. Appiah Mensah, who's a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I believe the line is much clearer now, Dr. Appiah Mensah. If you can hear me, I wanted to find out from you, from your point of view, how should the MPP as a party and Bawumia as a candidate approach the reconciliation process now that the elections are over?
Thank you for I like on the start process part. The party that were a credit. Let the sun be up and up.
Unfortunately, the phone lines are still not any better there. We're still struggling to establish connection with Dr. Appiah Mensah, who is a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, trying to share his expertise on the fallout from the MPP primaries that happened just this Saturday. And still on the reactions to the MPP primaries, though, some residents in the Ashanti region have expressed their opinions about the party electing Dr. Bawumia as its 2028 presidential candidate.
Yes, Bawumia. So we're winning. Enye Bawumia na enwini, eye osono no na enwini. Etini nyane se ono mo bekabom. Na wako ohun se obefre Kennedy Japan, obefre omo ono mo contesting se we dey asie bia na ye efie ba akumu na ye ko ayakonwa akoto na yenya yakopre. It is akonwa kopre abeto na ye pre na banwini dia. From bom na mo nyina mo nka mum na be na NDC de omo nya ade bia ye chenchen so bia. Brazil for ne ayi for no mo jai omo ne US enye business bi ono eno na ma dollar akofom anda Kwame Nkrumah breso besi ayi akufo do abreso na Ghana ye gold board na gold na ye 10 tons opa omo se me bo am nko check eno achi no kufo do buy what they call 36 tons
ne nyina achi no wo de ogide said Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia betimi awini ama MPP 2028
ai
So that's an opinion from one of the drivers saying that he believes strongly that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia can win the 2028 elections with the NPP. He said that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is visionary, he has a lot in his head, and he can secure the victory that the NPP is looking for in 2028. There's already a debate ongoing. Now, maybe I will say, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia kunim die. Wow, didn't show say
my dream chairman no medical state data. Say ninkunim die no, e lose my NPP straight up. Ninkunim die no lose my NPP. You are floating voters who, and NPP for one to Obama amano. Asia for no one tie. Any packet to be aquadid sika kitinkiti asisi omo botom ana omo decide ama omo aho. It is omo aho dia edani beduru no medikaka edani beduru no omo se nye omo nko ana eto aba no anya say 200 na yi pe no ana ekoto aba na
2028 asem ne ka onji ni say ekwan wa dodo say obe conclude say Bawumia ntimi wini
ontimi wini efri say Ediana record ben obegina so say NPP yi Kennedy a Japan na ankabebua party no say Kennedy no e form for no o party na kam ye twitro o tina kam a ensem anipa ka ensem amanfo ka o costos ne ade a yetiti afiafiem. What I say, yet any boys in Susudi agro and some amount for can you floating voters?
Yeah, that's a pass. So that's an opinion from another driver who says that Dr. Bawumia cannot win for the NPP in 2028. He says that if they had brought Kennedy in Japan, it would have been easier than coming in with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Let me speak to this woman. But Saturday, no, me also saw her MPP for Abaton go to no. Or may Dr. Bawumia, oh, I didn't see no, obey me the MPP for Abapower 2028.
Oh, then say. The omoye no ne kwan so ano maye e na Dr. Bawumia obetimi di MPP for aba because of say amamu no obebu bi pen nti onimu so nti ye nimu say obetimi aye nti ene ya say chusu no say onsamla obetimi di yakọ o se ye hwe 4 years 8 years coming na Mahama no ne Atamos na woso Atamos free mono sebi me ba se kai amanfo ya o free mono ye hunu seba Mahama wa ye bi pen enu ogusu ye enti yesi ma ne chance no no ba ye na akufo adon so no baby pen ene ono so nya ne second chance enti ono ne second Mahama second chance ne de wanya awie o free so the next batch no ono wo ba no Bawumia ye woni mu interest enti eni mu se wa ye bi pen ne de obetimi di akọ bo sha assassin so enti ne ama ne da opportunity no se omlan o se Kennedy o ye hu ne amamuo da odo ya tete se wa bie enuma wa ye niema bebre ba enuma na wa bie is not enough.
Well, let's take you back to the KNUST campus and try to establish connection again with Dr. Amache Boateng. I want to believe you can hear me this time round, though. I was trying to find out how should the MPP approach the reconciliation now that the primaries are over?
Thank you. I was saying that they want to build on the support losing have promised Dr. Bawumia and the party. They may not necessarily send
Yes, Dr. Amache Boateng.
Going forward, the party is going to elect national leader. I like to take that, but they want a mix of it who and turn up leader. If I was done to get this issue to over if they're going to be and be and then you have
Right, unfortunately, we've lost connection to Dr. Amache Boateng again. But in the meantime, though, Minority Leader Alexander Appiah Mensah has shot down allegations that he influenced Efutu constituency delegates to vote for Kennedy Japan. Well, the allegations were rife, especially on the voting day, where some delegates called out the MP over what they described as intimidation tactics. The minority leader has, however, in a statement released on his X account, debunked the allegations. Here are excerpts of that particular statement. In part, it says, since the beginning of the flag bearer contest, I have been targeted by certain unscrupulous individuals, yet throughout I have remained calm and focused. This spurious allegation is merely the latest in a series of plots orchestrated by my adversaries. At one point, a manipulated video was widely circulated, falsely claiming that I had not applauded a particular candidate during their introduction at the signing of the Peace Pact at the Alisa Hotel on January 22nd, 2026. These vile tactics are as transparent as they are desperate. As a committed servant of Ghana Parliament, the New Patriotic Party in Efutu, I have adhered strictly to all Electoral Commission and party leadership guidelines throughout this process. At no point have I been anywhere near the voting area as claimed, nor have I engaged in any conduct that could be construed even remotely as undue influence. My presence in the constituency today has been limited strictly to exercising my franchise and undertaking lawful oversight in full compliance with the rules that govern us all. I welcome anyone who wishes to verify the facts for themselves to come to Winneba and observe the process firsthand. Journalists and media organizations covering today's exercise are well placed to provide independent, objective accounts of events on the ground. Truth and transparency are our strongest defenses against falsehood. So that's the statement that was released by the minority leader and MP for Efutu, Alexander Appiah Mensah, to defend his stance as to whether or not he influenced delegates in his constituency to vote in the direction of Kennedy Japan. And my colleague Caleb Ziblim of the Joy News Research Desk has been breaking down the number from the Efutu constituency. And let's watch this.
Well, this is because if you look at Efutu and you look at how Dr. Mamudu Bawumia dropped in terms of votes, many are saying that, well, pointing fingers, and the minority leader has already spoken. If you compare 2023 to 2026, how Kennedy Japan increases votes about 30% from some 544 to about 655 in Efutu. That tells you how he was able to increase his votes. But if you look at Bawumia, for instance, he actually dropped in votes by 30%. Dropping vote by some 68%, dropping from about some 200 votes to about 79. That has actually, initiated those talks and people saying that maybe the minority that possibly was in the camp of Kennedy Japan, but he has actually debunked this allegation and said that, look, that is not true. But in fact, we should look at the general view of what happened on Saturday in terms of the performance of both candidates. And you can see Mamudu Bawumia, they're winning by some 110,000 votes, more than that, and that was a dip from what he had in 2023. But the key picture is here, where Kennedy Japan himself dropped by some more than 20,000 votes on Saturday, and that actually gave Mamudu Bawumia the chance to actually still lead the NPP. But I want you to look at this 7 or 6 regions plus the headquarters. These are the places that Dr. Mamudu Bawumia actually gained in votes. In fact, if you look at where he gained the votes, Greater Accra is number 1. He gained additional votes. If you compare his performance this year to 2023, 818 votes, Western region 441, Bono, where you have Abronye and Co there, he gained some 337 votes, Savannah, Central region and the Northern region. And in fact, if you look at this, you could see that all 3 swing regions that usually would decide the national election, these are the places that Dr. Mamudu Bawumia actually gained in vote. There were also other places.
So Isaac Ofieje is the head of our research desk here at joining us. Let's stay more on this for some analysis of the numbers. And Caleb Ziblim of our research desk is joining us in studio with more. Caleb, take us through the performance of the various MPP flag bearers in history.
Okay, so from what you just saw on TV, that was Kofi breaking down the results of Saturday's election.
Right.
Bawumia won by 110 votes, but that was a reduction from 118 to 110,000. Kennedy also, he dropped a bit from 71,000 to about 46,000 votes. And now we're trying to do some analysis on the flag bearers, and then when they come around the second time.
Right.
So if you look at from 1992, we had Idu Boahene. He won by 56%, but he wasn't retained. He was dropped off, and Kufuor came in 1996. Kufuor won by 51%. Then the next year, the next time, 1998, Kufuor was retained, and he went up by 64%.
Right.
So the first time Kufuor came around, 51%, then followed by 64%. Then he subsequently won the election in 2000. Then again, we have Akufo-Addo coming in 2007 with 47%. They didn't cross the 50+1 mark, and that had to lead to a runoff, which Alan Tremanson had to drop out and let Akufo-Addo win it. And then Akufo-Addo came back on the scene in 2010, this time with 78%, and then again in 2014 with 94%, and then he won the election in 2016. So as you can see from the trend, whenever you repeat a candidate, the second time he comes around, he increases his vote margin or his vote share.
Right.
Kufuor came 51, the next time 64. Akufo-Addo came 47, the next time 78, and then 94. But this is the first time we are seeing, a change in direction of the trend, because Bawumia came with 61%, and if you look at the trend, that's the highest any first timer has got. When Idu Boahene came the first time, he got 56%. Kufuor got 51%. Akufo-Addo got 47%, but Bawumia got 61%. Now, the only difference this time around is that the second time Bawumia was on the ballot for the flag bearership race, his votes actually dipped from 61% to about 56.4%, 56.48%. So again, the data is showing us that this is the first time that we are seeing the flag bearer election of someone who won the previous flag bearer race actually dropping the second time around. And then the interesting thing is that this time around, there was a significant third force, in this case, Brian Champong. In all the other elections, we don't have a significant third force. It was always between the first two contenders. In the 90s, it was between Kufuor and then Idu Boahene, and then we came to Akufo-Addo and then Alan Tremanson. But this is the first time, and the last time we had Bawumia and then Kennedy Japong. We thought 2026 is going to repeat itself with just these two main players in the race. But then Brian Champong came along, and then he actually took so many votes from both Bawumia and then Kennedy Japong, because Bawumia lost about 7,000 votes, Kennedy Japong lost about 30,000 votes, give or take. And Brian ended the race with more than 30,000 votes for a first timer.
Right.
So the effects of Brian on the race resulted in Bawumia actually dropping, and this has distorted the trend. As you can see, every time a flag bearer comes back and wins the race again, he increases his vote share. We started with Kufuor from 51 to 64, Akufo-Addo from 47 to 78, but then the first time we are seeing Bawumia from 61 down to 56%.
But I want to find out, are there any similarities between the delegates from 1992 to the delegates in 2026? You know that in each of these election years, the delegate figures kept going up.
Yep.
Could that have been a factor as to why it became very competitive, especially just last Saturday?
I think this current flag bearership race is actually very different from the rest.
Yes.
Because this time around, there was no fresh election for the party. Yeah. So your regional executives, constituency and national executives were basically the same from 2023. So Bawumia going into this race already had those votes, the ones he got previously, because he not changed the delegate structure at all. But then with the previous election cycles, they changed the delegate structure. So from 92 to 96, you always have your new constituency polling station executives always voted for before it comes to your flag bearership race. So that happened from 92 all the way to 2014 or 2023. But in 2026, this time around, we still have the same voter base, that's from constituency to regional to national. And then again, we had some few additions from the party amendment that they did last year on, I think, July 31st.
Yeah.
So that's the only different dynamic, which is also why we could see Bawumia actually keeping his vote count.
Yeah.
But in the presence of Brian Champong, and this wasn't expected, he actually took some of the votes away from both Kennedy Japong and Brian and Dr. Bawumia.
Caleb Ziblim, thank you very much. He's with our research desk here at Joy News. And let's bring in political communication expert, Professor Eche Sikanku. He is the Dean of the School of Journalism at the University of Media Arts and Communications. Professor Eche Sikanku, grateful for your time this afternoon. The elections are over. Dr. Bawumia has emerged victorious. What communication strategy might have worked in his favor in spite of the fierce contest that he faced?
Yeah, thank you very much, Carlos. Good to be with you. And if you observe Dr. Bawumia's communication and you do a communicative analysis of the kind of communication that he did, you can break it down into about 4 different groups. The first is where the youth is. Dr. Bawumia felt as candidate who could find the path. And the first problem is that always talk about the path, the MP, the path of different candidates. And he thought that it is better to do that one technical weapon that
Professor Sikanku, sorry to interrupt, but I'm struggling to hear you. If you can kindly reposition yourself so that we can establish better connection with you.
Okay. Hello, Carlos. Is it better now?
It's better. This is Kenneth, by the way.
Oh, Kenneth. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So when you do a communicative analysis of Dr. Bawumia's strategy, you realize that it was centered on about 5 different things. The first one is what I would call the unity frame. If you look at the organization, there are candidates who bring us together, who could unite. Over time, he pointed his strategy is an image of different strategies, different, the down here, and said that this is what a party did a particular tribe section. It was not narrow, but it was kind of wide and contained people from different tribal groups, different ethnic groups, and all sorts of all sorts of traditions. So the first communicative option for him was that he positioned himself as a custodian of party stability. That's the significance of communication like that. People, the delegates listen to him, and they see him as somebody who can bring stability to the party. And so this remote position is a very important leadership skill, because people are looking for a leader who will draw them together, who will divide them. So that's the first communication strategy that he used. Secondly, when you analyze his rhetoric and you listen to the kind of statements he was making in his engagement, you realize that he predicated his communication on what I call the competence narrative or competence training. Over and over again, he talked about his experience. This is somebody who has been very central and very core to the NPP since 2008 as vice presidential candidate and as vice president and then presidential candidate. So he often talked about this in terms of his readiness for office. So delegates look at it and they see stability, they see somebody who is ready, somebody who has experience, and somebody who has a grasp of the governance issue. So that's something that delegates look for, and then that registered. The next thing in terms of communication that you will observe when you do an analysis of his rhetoric is that his communication was often grassroots-centered. So we can call it a grassroots-centered communication. This is a candidate who was the only one who came up with a grassroots or dedicated welfare system, one constituency, an appointment. Well, a presidential primary, these things resonate very well with them. So the appointment system, the welfare system, he had a strategy for it. Digitized system where the grassroots will be taken care of, and that really resonated. Because for a party with a huge tradition, it was very important that they have a very well laid out structure for the grassroots. And he appears to be the person who would do that and take care of them.
Right.
Now, there is what we can also call the civility messaging. I mean, if you look at Dr. Bawumia, I think one of the things we can all agree in the rhetoric is that he is often not a very dramatic or sensational person. His rhetoric is not really bombastic.
Right.
And it's not hugely personality driven. And so he is not somebody whose communication rhetoric is adversarial. And in Ghana, a lot of people look at that and it appeals to them. The delegates look at them and see that, well, this is somebody with a potential, this is somebody who is well measured. And if you put this within the presidential theme, it also indicates that he's presidential. He crosses the presidential path.
Right. Professor Sekangu, let's look at the other two candidates, the runner-up and the one that placed third. That's Brian Champon and Kennedy Agyapong. Let's look at their communication strategy. Brian Champon, for example, presented himself as, the better force to unite them, to unite the party if he is elected as the flag bearer, because he thought that the camps of Kennedy Agyapong and that of Mamudu Bawumia were at odds with each other. And then you have Kennedy Agyapong, who was very combative. He was painting Dr. Mamudu Bawumia as a very bad candidate who should not be repeated. Looking at these two candidates, what really didn't work for them in terms of communication strategy?
Yes, thank you very much. And I'll just talk about the last theme I found and I'll quickly move on. The last strategy Dr. Bawumia used is what I call the authority strategy. And that is that he used other people, other leaders, other feature personalities to tell business. For instance, I will talk about the role of the presidential candidate as paramount power. That's Appiah Mensah. She was a very important weapon in this particular primary. She went out there, she was very thoughtful, she argued the case for her husband very, very strongly,
right.
And she communicated very efficiently. And I believe that also did help or contributed in a very major way to getting the delegates on board. Now, to the question about the other delegates, for someone like Kennedy Agyapong, a lot of people look back and see that last couple of weeks when he was very combative, went on air and had this long, run against Dr. Bawumia, calling him both of me. I think that didn't really work too well for him. And we know that he's also, his communication style is also very personality driven and very fierce and very aggressive. And maybe people looked at that and felt, well, this is what we want at this moment. If you look at Dr. Brian Champon as well, I think that one of the things is that probably didn't also work for him was that his communication was quite combative and very personality driven, tending to focus the blame of the electoral law solely on Dr. Bawumia. And I think that maybe that probably didn't sit well with the delegates because there are definitely a multiplicity of factors that lead to the outcome of the election. But, Dr. Brian Champon performed better than people thought, and maybe his communication was very, very assertive.
Right.
I think that probably also represented very positively with the people, signaling somebody who has the capacity and the power to be able to drive the party moving forward. And he probably did himself some good, when it comes to that aspect.
And finally, of course, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emerged victorious, but going into the 2028 elections, he's going to have a different message, of course, compared to what he had when he was vying to be the leader of the party or the flag bearer of the party. How should he change, or how should he strategize his communication when he's trying to appeal to Ghanaians, now that he's appealed to his party delegates, when he's trying to appeal to Ghanaians to vote for him in 2028?
Well, I think that he has to maintain the character of his communication and be himself. He's somebody whose hallmark or his trademark is decent communication, civil communication, and he should maintain that stability in terms of his tone in communication. And I think that he has maintained the issue-based technocratic style. That he cannot for that, do it, etc. You do it, don't worry, intelligent, all of that. He should maintain that issue-focused message that characterize communication. Because at the primary, that issue-based communication presented him as a problem solver. Now we need to extend that to the national stage as a national problem solver, or what we call a technocratic statesman. If he can frame his communication as that, I believe it will contribute to his competency narrative. So this is one thing that you need to focus on moving forward. But the other thing you can do in terms of using techniques such as storytelling in order to sell a policy message, because at some point you have to humanize your message.
Right.
At some point you have to emotionally connect with Ghanaians.
Right.
Ghanaians have to be able to relate to you or connect to you in a certain emotional or in a certain relatable manner. And I think that when I think that's what he needs to do, ground his campaign in more practical narratives, in more empathetic narratives, and to connect more with Ghanaians. I think that is something that will work for him. So, and then lastly, he can also continue his value-based training, where he focuses on values such as being very compassionate. Inclusivity is a major style of his communication. I think he can focus on that, and then still, his ideas.
Right.
Ideas, communication. I think that will also help him.
Right. Professor H.S. Kanku, grateful for your time this afternoon. He's the Dean of the School of Journalism and Media Studies at UNIMAC IJ. And let's bring in Dr. Amachi Boatin once again. This time around, he's joining us via Zoom. We also have on the telephone lines the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, Henry Nana Boakye, who is joining us on the telephone lines. But I want to begin with Dr. Amachi Boatin on Zoom. I want to believe that we now have a better connection with you. We're all talking about how the party will reconcile now that they've elected their flag bearer. How do they go about it?
Thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to say good evening to our viewers. Actually, political party activists are all in with personal, unique interest, which eventually come together to become the party's interest. And inclusion is the issue. Inclusion. So these candidates who, if you like, join the presidential primaries are individuals who decided to participate in the party's activity in a very special way. We're ready to spend resources. So at the end of the day, they are to be seen as critical members of the party. They have constituencies. And so the inclusion at the top, these people should be included in many of the things that Dr. Bawumia will be doing, and their support base, people there will have also to be included. I'm looking at a scenario where they'll be going into election of national leaders. If it happens that majority of these people come exclusively from Dr. Bawumia's camp, it might spare some or bring up some new challenge. So I think at all levels going forward in all the activities, inclusion should be well. And I think with that, there won't be the need to talk about unity again, because they are actively engaged by the party in one or another issue, and that will be it.
Right. Dr. Kwesi Amache-Boakye, thank you very much. He's a political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's now bring in Henry Nana Boakye, who's the national organizer of the opposition New Patriotic Party. Henry, grateful for your time this afternoon. Of course, the primaries, as we all know, have ended, and calls for unity are rife. How is the party going to deal with this?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Yes, Saturday was a significant day for the party, and once again, congratulations to the next president, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. It was a decisive mandate, but the presidential primaries has come to an end, and in his message, it was quite clear. Already he's shown signals, huge and very visible signals, that he would want to unite the party, heal the party, so that we can move forward together. And as a leader and as a flag bearer, the presidential candidate now, I think that he signaled that on Saturday. And what was also profound that day was what the other aspirant also did. It was very beautiful, all four aspirants. I mean, he had some, fierce contest from Honorable Kennedy Akompelko Japan, and then Dr. Brian Champon, and Dr. Yao Osei Duchum, and Engineer Kwabena Japan. All of them pledged their support. All of them, in a way, have said, look, this election is free, fair, credible, transparent, and peaceful. And that, for me, is a huge step, because what they were calling for all the time was the fact that, look, the elections must be free, fair, transparent, credible, acceptable by all, and that would be a very huge step for us attaining a very united force. And so far, I think we have that. As a party, we are grateful for what happened on Saturday. I mean, we've had a very long process, right? I mean, spanning for about 6 months or so. So we are happy, we are okay. What is important is that the presidential candidate had shown clear signs, visible signs, that he intends to rally the entire party behind him. He intends to heal the party. He intends to lead the reconciliation process of the party. And he intends to also lead the party in waging an effective campaign in recapturing power in 2028.
One of the few similarities between this election and the one that took place in 2023 were two returning candidates, that's the former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia and the former Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapon. He was very critical of Mahmoud Bawumia, especially during this campaign period. Of course, we've seen him amongst the other candidates congratulate him, but is the party fearful that this might just be cosmetics and there might be cracks that will begin to show when intensive campaign begins?
Oh, yes. Obviously, the campaign towards Victory 2028 will have phases. Once we have just come out of a very vigorous process, very important process like electing the flag bearer, there are a lot of other restructuring processes that is going to go on. And for me, it's part of the campaign, because now it means that you are forming your teams at the various levels within the structures of the party. So that in its step is part of the processes towards the victory. Again, your question also will bring in what I've earlier stated. The most important thing is the willingness, is the desire from the other aspirants, from other people to see the party united, right, and focused towards a certain cause. And that is what all four aspirants, and that is what even the party, the leadership of the party. I was happy that the former president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was there. I mean, his message was very important, very reconciliatory, and that is what the party needs, and that is what we are having now. And for me, that is key. What happened on Saturday right, incident-free, peaceful. Everything that happened on Saturday, for me, is just a step towards Victory 2028.
Right.
And it is only the Victory 2028 will be a product of what happened yesterday. So we are happy as a party. And let me also say that the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, we also pledge our unflinching support to the newly elected presidential candidate, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. He has our support fully, and we are going to cooperate with him fully to make sure that the entire party, is solely behind him, fully behind him, yes, to wage an effective campaign for Victory 2020.
Henry, glad you could join me this afternoon. Henry Nana Boakye is the national organizer of the opposition New Patriotic Party. Away from politics, though, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has begun a major decongestion exercise in the central business district, targeting traders operating on pavements, alleyways, and other unauthorized spaces. The operation, which started today, saw the AMA task force members move through major market areas, clearing traders that officials say obstruct pedestrian movement and contribute to congestion. Speaking to Joy News, Accra Mayor Michael Alote vowed to strictly enforce the law to restore order within the city.
This is day 2 of the decongestion. We started it last year. I said there wasn't a 9-day wonder. You can see that what I said was true. We are back. And now we are being able to have the pavement for the people to walk. Even some of the people have forgotten that there is a pavement for them to walk because they've been passing on the street all the time. But I can promise you and assure you that this time we will enforce the laws, we'll make the law work.
Well, the mayor has also been assuring that the assembly will continue works at the Salaga market to ensure that it is ready by the end of the first quarter to accommodate traders operating on walkways within the central business district.
I'm talking to you. We went to the Salaga markets. I want people to see we are not just doing decongestion, but we are building the market as we promised. So work is ongoing at the markets. That when we finish the market, we'll move some of the women which are behind the red lines. We'll move them back to the market. For so far, so good. It has been successful. We are looking forward for day 3 at Agbobushi, day 4 Carnation, day 5 Circle. We'll be going to Medina. We'll be going to.
Well, thankfully, we have the Accra Mayor, Michael Alote, on the telephone lines right now to speak to us. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And this is not the first time a decongestion exercise has been carried out in Accra. Over the years, we've seen successive governments attempt to decongest the city with little success. Why does this continue to be the case? I'm saying that this is not the first time we are seeing such a decongestion exercise take place, and anytime it appears that it is not working. Hello, Mayor Alote, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying that this is not the first time we are seeing such an exercise take place. Even last year, we saw a similar incident take place, but all the time it appears that it does not work. How different is this one?
The problem we have is very simple. It has been a very long time since we had decongestion. It's over 8 years. So the people still belong on the street. So it would take time for you to educate them, for them to know that where they are sitting is not good. So it's a gradual process. We cannot use it one day to fix something for the past 8 years. So I'm still working on this, and now the women, the children are listening, and now we have educated the line. Before they don't have life, and we had few people to just speak against. But today, what we're doing today, all the children understand that the mayor tried to get somebody to sit and feed. So they are
And how do you intend to sustain this decongestion exercise? I know that you started just today.
Yeah, my mother. I've employed young men that are going to be like city guards. They are going to be city guards, and I've employed some of the trainers and stuff to monitor this program. And if anybody violates, the person pays the fine, then they will be freed up from there. And you know, Ghanaians, we don't want to pay fines. The ones that start paying fines, they'll be straight.
Usually the defense of these traders is that they have nowhere else to go but at that place that they are being told to go. Now that you have decongested these areas, is there a makeshift area for them to go and sell?
Yes. I thought I was with your news friends today, and we have done a red line for them to just go behind the line and stop for the meantime.
And are there any measures in place to ensure compliance? Because we know that these traders usually come back the moment you leave.
They are going to comply this time. They will listen to us this time.
How do you know?
They promise to listen.
How do you know?
Because I have selected leaders from them. You know, they listen to each other. So I have a selection from the traders themselves.
And how has compliance been?
Oh, today was okay. We didn't really have any conversation with, you know, I gave them 1 month period from the 1st January to the end of January for them to move back to the red line.
So the places that have been decongested, has there been anything that is put there to signal that this is now a no-go area? Have you awarded them?
Yes, there are lots of signs. The ground, I'll not give you some of the signs, or your newsman will have some of the demarcations that we have done.
And which areas have these decongestion exercise taking place today?
We are doing Tudu. We are doing we pick it day by day. We are doing Tudu. We are doing Okanshu. We are doing China Lane. We are doing railways. We'll be doing Kolebu area. We'll be doing Kaneshi. We'll be doing Agogoshu. As I'm talking to you, we are tackling the Vodafone area.
Right. And of course, you've mentioned that this is not a one-day event. That means it's going to continue. What happens, for example, if you continue the exercise tomorrow and you meet individuals who were sacked from the spot yesterday back to the same spot?
Oh, I don't think I'll meet them because I've given them grace period enough, and I hope they will listen to me.
And what concrete steps are you putting in place to ensure that they do not return?
We are doing 24. We are doing 24 hours.
How are you doing that?
We have employed. We had a 24-hour office in AMA, which we have people moving all night because they are during the Christmas. There was a special team to make sure that there will not be no fire, nobody can go into the market and light up a fire, or nobody can go into the market and steal any of the traders' stuff. So there were a team, and this team now, we are still working with them.
And how long are these individuals going to be manning the place?
Oh, once the 24 hours come to stay, these people have come to stay.
Okay, that means it's going to be there for a long time, you say?
Yeah, it's going to be there for a long time.
All right. Mayor, thank you very much. That is Michael Alute. He's the Accra Metropolitan Assembly's Chief Executive Officer. And also joining us this afternoon is a local governance expert, Amon Kote. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. We've been speaking to the Accra Mayor, who I want to believe you've been listening to the conversation. I want to find out from you, what are the challenges with decongestion exercise in our cities?
Why are we calling the city in the first place? Because the jurisdiction of AMA is the central business district of the whole Accra, not only AMA. So if you have a city that is surrounded by over 20 municipalities, and each of the municipalities don't have their own central business district. But then every morning, everybody must troop to one central business district and in the evening, check out from the Central Business District, you are going to have congestion. And over the years, we have failed to have serious human development intervention in our planning. So, yes, the mayor and his team can push the people into spaces that might be around within the various markets. If the people become fed up, they push out again, And if the team that he has put in place also become fed up, they relax. And then we are back to square one, But the situation is, why are the people trooping to the Central Business District? They are going to buy stuff, So why don't we have Central Business District in all the municipalities that we have created? So that we don't rush to Accra Central.
So you believe that's where the solutions start from, the creation of CBDs across the various municipalities? That's where you think the solution will start from?
Yeah, every municipal must have its own Central Business District, so that the people in your district will not leave their district in search for goods or stuff outside their jurisdiction.
Well, the mayor also mentioned that there's now going to be a 24-hour security personnel at post guarding the places they've decongested. Do you think this is sustainable? And even if it's sustainable, is it even workable at all?
Yeah, yes. As for the mayor and his team, they are decongesting where they have their markets and their jurisdiction. That is where they are operating. But I'm looking at the whole Accra, and then why the people are in his district. That is how we must consider it. Because he's running a city where you have close to about 500,000 people entering his city in the morning and then checking out in the evening. So I don't know what exercise that can be done to stop this, than to establish Central Business District in all the various municipalities. If we want to run this same type of planning, you see every morning between 5 and 10 o'clock, all the cars heading towards his district. And then 3 to 6 in the evening, you see all the vehicles trooping out. I don't know if this is how we want to plan the city.
Of course.
For instance, we can place a bulk breakage market at Amasaman or Bokwasi. There's a huge land there that the government acquired some years ago. We can turn that into a bulk breakage market where all the stuff from the northern corridor will stop there. And that can decongest Accra by 40%. We don't need to be whipping people, pushing people. No, we have to apply all the planning tools that we have. But here we are. Everybody wants to go to, the orientation of the markets in Accra, they are wholesale markets. They are not hawking markets. So you take the wares from the warehouses and then you sell them at the wholesale level. And then the people must take the goods outside to go and do their business. But we have the market women creating this hawking environment. They give their wares to their people, their family people who hawk in front of their shops. So definitely there's going to be decongestion. The facilities there cannot contain the people.
Right. Of course, you mentioned that there should be CBDs in the various municipalities. That seemed like a long-term plan. But in the interim, though, what should be done?
No, it shouldn't be a long-term plan.
Okay.
Every district, at least Medina, Langquantanine, Ga West, Ga North, they can, at least 5 of them can establish a central business district. And then you will solve the problem. I mean, there is another issue, when you have a number of municipalities, there is another assembly that's supposed to be created. It is in the books. I don't know why they are not looking at that side. So that assembly can take care of some of the major interventions that the city needs. But here we are, if you are frustrated, you get some guys, push them off red line, green line, blue line, and whatever. The number of people in the various markets in Accra Central, around Tudu area, the Mokola, 31st, Agbogloshi, and all that, then the people are just over the facilities there. Right. And I heard we are going to put another market at Agbogloshi. I don't know why we want to do this as a city. Why do we want to do this to ourselves? Any market must be placed outside the central business district so that we will physically decongest, not that we're going to use sticks and push people here and there. No, as for that one, we used that strategy somewhere in the 70s and it has never worked. So why are we using it again?
Right. Mr. Amon Kote, thank you very much. He's a local governance expert. You're still watching the Pulse here on Joy News. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more stories. See you in a moment. You're welcome back. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, Operations Task Force, cracking down on drivers charging unapproved fares, has launched an operation in Amasaman, arresting 17 drivers for collecting illegal payments. According to the National Guard Commander of the GPRTU Task Force, Eko Gazi, some officers were stationed at Sapeman and Midair to relay real-time information to the team positioned at Amasaman.
At the moment 17 short sa otumi fa no ababesi wo Sapema no asan fa mo media to Sapema no asan fa Sapema no de aba Amasaman no asan dan ho obi tumi dan ho obi so tumi ko Accra anapoku ase omo nyina binom gina dua na se fan so wo police station ho si ayen yadwuma no titira ne se tumi yes arrest we ya de ma police na ne aka no police atua so afi ho. First group no call media and the beja binum Sapema and the last team no bar Amasama. International information be first media near the Amasama. So second group now Sapema almost munya nom the Amasama. Into Amasama na last point. Into everyone nature say about police station. Now do na ye short to four. Do na Omukwa umbesi Amasama no ma down mo ho no ma san aba Sapema no ma san down mo nti sa dodo na ho a no nyina mo wo Accra for ni say mo CM before no Central Police odun de won court ateso de won court but other areas na Ablekumanso am de binimu court yes mate Kaneshi so Kaneshi nya 6 some the court.
Meanwhile, the Onyado GPRTU Amasaman Welfare Chairman Eric Ni Aye advised drivers to desist from such acts, emphasizing that the union will collaborate closely with the task force to ensure that the right thing is done.
Operation regional operation extended a national nyina sans commander no national commander ye use no Greater Accra say na ade na ye mofra no ye no na drivers no ye no ebroso na ya finance wa enya ade a omo begai na e best passengers no so omo mwayen ende Amasama ha binmu didi atem se nkola ne start ase ache na nam wo he ni ade but bibia ni a shase free baby ya hu se petrol na ba fom petrol no ba fom no ese san caloric fare ba fom nso nya petrol nko na maka akọ no ma keka hu nyina ya ntete so nti ma mu ma ni nyina bebe gina no na pass na hu so hu nto no passenger huntono and the passenger call Abba, no name saw the 20 Ghana, Bekon crying Abba, now quack 40 Ghana, now quack 40 Ghana, and Kaye, and no exercise in the area. Tia da bas body abema your regional commander ne task force for no omo badwuma anapatututu ebo no numni fa no mo amasama ha.
Let's expand the conversation and bring in the deputy spokesperson for the GPRT, Samuel Amwa. Grateful for your time this afternoon. How is the crackdown going so far?
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening, Samuel. I'm asking how the crackdown has been so far.
All right. So thank you for having me. Let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers. Yeah, so far, I think we started this exercise for almost about 2 weeks now. When we started, the directive given by our leadership was that, since we are starting it for the first time, those first drivers that were arrested, we asked the police to just issue them with a warning letters so that others will see that this is what is happening. Then prior to that, they will stop doing that. But then as we keep going, we find out that yes, the drivers are still doing the same. So when we arrest them, we hand them over to the police, and now the instruction is that the police can just, take it from there by sending them to court, because we have come to understand that, there are recalcitrant ones that don't want to hear. But this thing that is going on is affecting, our commuters seriously. So that is what is happening now.
And apart from Amasaman, is this taking place elsewhere as well?
Yes. Yes. When was that? Was it last week, Wednesday? The team was in Ashaiman. We have been in so many. We started from Ablekuma. From Ablekuma, we've been in Odoko. We've been in Kaneshi, Malam, Accra Central. I think we've been in Accra Central for about 3 occasions. So it's going on. We've been on the Kaswa, Malam Kaswa stretch. We've been there. So even as I'm speaking to you, tomorrow, hopefully, we are forming another team specifically or basically for Ashaiman. We are meeting, we met the MCU of Ashaiman. He has also assured us that he's going to give us, some of his men. Likewise, the police, the MTTD commander, DSP Array also has, gave us a promise that he is also going to assist us with some men, so that the Ashama one will be everyday thing. So it's not something that we are doing it and maybe for a shorter period we'll stop. It's going on everywhere.
You've mentioned that the 17 people who have been arrested have been handed over to the police. Are you following up to see what happens then? Will they be processed for court or will they be granted bail? Are you following up at all?
Yes, we do. We do follow up because all the police stations or all the officers that we hand them over to, we always, ask them to be contacting the leadership. That is our regional chairman and who double as the national vice chairman, Neo Kantankra. He's been communicating with, all the police stations that we hand the drivers with, and we do follow up to make sure that the necessary, actions should be taken.
You did mention that the first set of people who were arrested were let go. The new set of people that have been arrested, are they going to suffer a similar fate? Will they also be let go just like that?
No, you see, when we started the first time, the first week, that is what we did. That being the first week, all the drivers that we were arrested, we just issue them. We asked the police to issue them with the warning letters. But subsequently, we have stopped. We are making sure that the police will send those drivers to court. Because, it's rather unfortunate that all the drivers we've been arresting are drivers that don't belong to any of the unions. And our Road Traffic Act 2012, the LI 2180 Regulation 121 has stated it clearly that before one can be allowed to operate as a commercial transport operator in the country, such operator must belong to an existing transport union. And if you are being caught and you don't belong to any of the existing unions, you have to be taken to court, and they will fine you not more than 25 penalty units, and you can also be in prison for 1 month. Or these two charges will be added, together to be given to you. So this is what is happening. So we are making a following up to make sure that the police will send them to court, so that it will serve as a deterrent to those drivers that are still doing that.
Samuel Amwa is the deputy spokesperson of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. Thank you very much for your time. Now, Menzgold Ghana CEO Appiah Mensah, also known as NAM1, has told an Accra High Court he was properly licensed to operate, rejecting claims that the company ran illegally. He said Menzgold completed all PMMC requirements, paid the fees, and was vetted before receiving approval to trade gold. NAM1 is facing 39 charges, including operating without a license, fraud, and money laundering over claims he defrauded investors. Outside the court, aggrieved customers convener Frederick Forson said nearly 300 customers have died while waiting for their money, and urged the court to hold daily sittings to speed up the process.
We had called for daily trial. So today being Monday, we were thinking that we could come 1 or 2 days before the week ends. But we don't know the diary of the courts and that of the lawyers, and so I think that's the scheduled date, and we will abide by it. Just that we want to use the medium to appeal to the courts that we should resume that daily trial before the prima facie case was established. That time we were doing daily trial and the case went well, because we have spent almost 8 years when this matter broke. And so at this stage that we are doing the cross-examination for NAM1, we believe that daily trial will help us. Last 3 weeks, we buried 3 people in Takwa. And so as for the destruction and the deterioration, it's still going on. We are not seeing any hope, especially with the issue of payment of the money. But we believe in the court process. So far, there is no bar at the Supreme Court. The last time we went to court, he withdrew the case. And so we believe that now the High Court here can go ahead with the cross-examination. We only hope that we shall resume or return to the daily trial, so that there will be speed, there will be justice in record time, because it's been 8 years and this case moved to the High Court since 2023. We are in 2026. It's not been easy. A lot of, see the numbers. When the case started, we have huge numbers in the court, but now members' hopes appears to be dwindling.
Mr. Forson has also alleged NAM1 previously delayed proceedings with multiple appeals, but said withdrawing the latest appeal should allow the case to proceed smoothly.
Initially, we thought these processes, even though he has a constitutional mandate to do it, but they are a form of delayed tactics. But we were very patient enough to go through with him. So we were happy last week when he went to the courts and withdrew the case. And I believe the court said he doesn't have liberty to reapply. So that is good for us. And now the High Court can proceed with the case. The last time he was saying that he's going to assign a lawyer to each of the accused persons. Today, too, he repeated it in court. We want to see how that is going to pan out. But today, he said he was speaking for himself and not the rest of the accused. We want to see how that will work. But at the end of the day, he himself admits that he is indebted to us. And so we believe that even though the criminal one is going on, he must make the necessary arrangement, because the court right from the embarrassing stage of this case, the court said he could come for plea bargaining, so that, because at the end of the day, it's our money that we want, and if we're able to settle us, I'm sure the state will take cognizance of that gesture, and they will know how to go around this case. So it's important that he tries as much as possible to begin the process of settling the customers. That is more important.
Let's bring you other stories this evening as the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NAM1, this weekend seized a cache of weapons and ammunition from illegal miners found to have blocked mining in portions of the Butre River in the Ahanta West district of the Western region. Well, the task force also seized 16 excavators and destroyed 20 chamfan and 12 pumping machines, a renewed onslaught on illegal miners in the Western and Eastern regions at the weekend. Erastus Asaridonko was there and brought us a wrap, but let's go on to Zoom right now and speak to Kenneth Ashigbe, who is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Grateful for your time this evening, Mr. Ashigbe. How would you describe the latest operation by NAM1? Kindly unmute your microphone so we can hear you.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can.
Right. Okay. So, well, I think it's important that we recognize the work NAM1 is doing and support it. But for me, the challenge in all of this is that what are the MCs and the DCs in these communities doing? Why are they waiting for NAM1 to come all the way from Accra or come from wherever they are to come and arrest? You know, the example, for example, of the arrest that was done of people who were working by the sides of the roads. There are communities that you go. This weekend I traveled from Takwa to Takrady. You see Galamsey hidden in plain sight. And you're wondering what the MCs are doing about that. Why are they waiting for NAM1 to come in before they deal with this? So as we commend NAM1, we commend the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources for all that he's doing, you still have these challenges also plaguing us. And I think one of the major challenges that we would resolve is if we were able to provide NAM1 with the resources so that they'll have permanent bases in some of these places, as they promised when we had a meeting with His Excellency, the CSOs had a meeting with His Excellency, the President. Let's get NAM1 to have permanent bases in some of these forest reserves, have them around some of these water bodies. And also the move by the Forestry Commission to have permanent bases for their forest guards in these communities. I think it's a move that is worthy of support, where we can build infrastructure that, you know, would be able to protect them and have them in those places. But I will plead with His Excellency the President, he should start holding our MCs and DCs accountable.
Initiated a major raid on illegal miners.
I was just about coming there, Mr. Ashigbe. You've previously said that the President should sack any MMDC whose area Galamsey is still rife. Is that a decision you still stand by?
You see, the MCs, the DCs are the President's representative in those communities. They are the chairpersons of the District of Municipal Security Committees. They also, where there are mining committees in those districts and in municipalities, they are the heads of them. And so when Galamsey is happening in those communities, and then what are they doing as representatives of His Excellency the President? And we know that His Excellency himself had said one of the major KPIs so far as the fight against this illegality was concerned was going to be holding our MCs and our DCs accountable. Unfortunately, to date, we've not seen anything like that happening. And some of these arrests that NAM1 has done, they are all happening within districts. And there are district MCs and DCs who are responsible. You go into places like Dunko, for example. The MC who is there, he's giving tax to excavators to go and do illegal mining, to go and do mining. Ask him whether he's checked, whether all of those excavators that he's giving tax to are all doing legal mining. And so they need to support the President in his effort, because in as much as Galamsey is a national problem, the solution to it is local. And we need to start, they are the first people we should be holding accountable.
Kenneth Ashigbe, thank you very much. He is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. Now, the Tono and Via irrigation dams, once reliable lifelines for dry season farming in the Upper East region, are now under growing threat. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, and prolonged dry spells linked to climate change are reducing water levels and disrupting carefully planned irrigation schedules. The dams are being pushed beyond what they were originally designed to handle, and farmers are constantly racing against time to avoid post-harvest losses. For Climate Focus today, here's a Joy News special by Albert Sorry.
The Tono Dam, located in Navrongo in the Kasna-Nankana municipality, and the Via Dam, located in the Bongo district, have for decades sustained thousands of smallholder farmers. Constructed in the 1970s, the dams were designed to support dry season farming and stabilize food production in one of the country's most climate vulnerable zones. Today, however, that lifeline is under increasing threat. Climate change, defined as long-term changes in temperature, rainfall patterns, and weather extremes, largely driven by human activities such as fossil fuel use and deforestation, is putting unprecedented pressure on the Tono and Via irrigation dams and the farming communities that depend on them. According to the irrigation company of Upper Region, ICOR, which manages both facilities, rising temperatures and erratic rainfall have made it increasingly difficult to operate the irrigation schemes as planned. Dominic Anargede is acting managing director of ICOR.
In those days, by April, May will start rainy season. These days, we will start somewhere June, July. What it means is that we are not longer able to maintain what we call our crop calendar, and we have to give what we call supplementary irrigation. And supplementary irrigation is supposed to just supplement the efforts of the rainfall, but sometimes you end up giving too much water even during that period, and what is left for the dry season is now reduced. Then also, because of rise in temperatures resulting from climate change, then the surface level of the water becomes so hot. So it is estimated that monthly basis it will lose about 2 to 2.5 million cubic meters of water.
As the rainfall has become more unreliable across the region, more people are moving closer to the dams to engage in irrigated farming.
Climate change has pushed some farmers to now want to farm around the buffer zone, and that also pushes some debris into the dam. We have been fighting that.
Downstream, in the lowlands under the Tono irrigation scheme, farmers are facing mounting uncertainty. Some currently risk losing their crops because ICOR must halt water supply to allow for canal cleaning and maintenance ahead of the dry season farming window.
Farmers were not able to go in the time they were supposed to. The rains did not come for them to start early. And the ICOR calendar, they have a calendar that will start now and end at this time. So if the farmer is not able to fall in line with the ICOR calendar, then at the time his crop will still need water. That is the time ICOR might want to carry out maintenance.
We don't start the season early. The rain pattern too, it doesn't come early, or it comes and goes off. Those are the challenges that we are facing from the project. And if it happens like that, we have low yield.
ICOR maintains that the irrigation calendar must be followed to ensure long-term functionality of the system.
A number of farmers, just a few of them, are having harvested, and they are demanding us to open water again. Can you imagine that? And that is supposed to be the rainy season, which started somewhere June, July. So see that the main rain will stop, but we still have to supply water to supplement that rainy season, and that now will reduce the amount of water available for our main dry season.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sorry, Tono, Upper East Region.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Hello again. With the recent data from the Ministry of the Interior showing a rise in arrests by the Narcotics Control Commission in relation to drug use and drug trafficking, the sector ministry has announced plans to establish specialized courts to ensure speedy prosecution. Speaking during a donation ceremony which saw the handing over of pickup trucks and motorbikes to the commission, the Interior Minister Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak described the establishment of the specialized courts as a necessity.
That the Narcotics Control Commission intensifies target narcotic enforcement patrols during the festive season from December 2025 through to January 2026, focusing on identified hotspots across the capital and other strategic locations. These special operations disrupted distribution networks at a critical period, enforced deterrence, and contributed directly to the positive enforcement outcomes during the being recorded at the start of 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, government recognizes the effective drug control does not end with arrest and seizure. Sustainable impact requires credible prosecution and timely justice. This is why we continue to support the effort to strengthen Narcotics Control Commission's prosecutorial mandate, deepen collaboration with the Attorney General's Department, and advance discussions towards the establishment of a specialized narcotics court to fast-track drug-related cases and enhance deterrence.
The Interior Minister further expressed concern over the growing use of tramadol in the country, noting that seizures of the drug have now surpassed all other narcotics.
In 2024 and 2025, arrests increased from 56 to 158 cases, representing a 182% rise, with enforcement outcomes strengthening consistently throughout 2025. During the same period, officers seized 840 kilograms of cannabis and 341 kilograms of cocaine, confirming Ghana's active role in detecting and disrupting international drug trafficking. At the same time, the drug market is evolving, with tramadol accounting for 23% of the seized MPS piles, whilst the remaining 77% reflect a growing range of other psychotropic substances.
Muntaka Mubarak is the Minister for the Interior. Now, delivering his acceptance speech, the Director General of the Narcotics Control Commission, Brigadier General Maxwell Mante, assured that the vehicles will be effectively utilized to ensure the Commission's operational efficiency and service delivery.
These vehicles will greatly enhance our operational capacity, improve response times, and enable our officers to reach high-risk communities when required. They will strengthen our surveillance, interdiction, and intelligence-led operations. Honorable Minister, we assure you that these vehicles will be responsibly deployed, properly maintained, and used strictly in furtherance of our mandates to combat illicit drug trafficking, reduce drug abuse, and protect the safety and well-being of our fellow citizens. To our officers and staff, I encourage you to see this gesture as a renewed call to duty and a reminder to uphold professionalism, integrity, and excellence. In closing, we once again express our sincere appreciation to you, Honorable Minister, and the government of the people of Ghana for this invaluable support to NACOC.
Let's talk health now, because the Sector Minister Appiah Mensah has expressed concern about medical doctors not accepting postings to rural areas. Speaking during a working visit to the Oti region, he expressed worry that out of 25 medical doctors posted there, some have not reported. The Minister of Health, Appiah Mensah, also dismissed claims that newly deployed medical officers are being punished by being posted to rural and underserved districts, insisting that the appointments are necessary to ensure fair access to health care across the country.
A member of parliament, a regional minister, whoever you are, we must all put our heads together to find the solution. What we have realized again is that we post health professionals here and nobody will come. In 2025, we have posted about 25 medical doctors, and my checks indicate that only 2 have reported. Unfortunately, since I took office as a minister responsible for the health sector, I have indicated that no health professional should see going to serve in rural areas as a punishment. For me, in my humble opinion, it's a call to duty. And so I have assured all the districts and the regions that we are not going to change anybody's posting. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about it. So we'll stand by. If you have been posted to OT, you will go to OT. That is where government has vacancy, and that's where you will go. But we should also do an introspection of why the people are not going, and to be able to facilitate their stay, to attract more people and facilitate their stay in the regions. And that is why we have met here today.
Health Minister Kandor also urged the MMDCs in the region to provide decent accommodations for health workers and incentivize them.
Yesterday and today we decided as a ministry to work from OT region. And the reason is very simple. As part of our retreat to analyze 2025 and to do projections into 2026, we realized that most of the health outcomes from OT are very bad. And so it needed some urgent attention. So since yesterday, we've had a very warm reception, trying to find solutions to turn the things, the outcomes or the narrative around. As part of that, I have instructed for a committee to do a complete and a comprehensive audit of the whole health facilities in the region. And quite apart from that, we realize that health professionals do not accept postings into this part of the country. A typical example is the fact that in 2025, we posted about 25 medical doctors, and as I speak to you now, only 2 have reported. So we decided to come down, engage all stakeholders. The challenge is such that no one person can sit anywhere and prefer solutions to the challenges. And so since yesterday, we've been engaging the major stakeholders, the chiefs, the health professionals, the MPs, the DCEs, the regional minister, all stakeholders within the region to find solutions to these problems. We all know that health is very essential. And as part of the solutions, certain measures have been proposed. Fortunately enough, all stakeholders have agreed to stand by those measures that have been proposed, i.e. looking for befitting accommodations for health professionals, putting some vehicles at their disposal, some internally arranged allowances to motivate them to come into the region. And I have made a point from government's perspective, we are committed to doing our part. I don't see how we are going to change our position on the postings we have already done, because government can only declare vacancies and will need health professionals where they are needed most. It's quite instructive and disheartening to note that about 50% of all medical doctors we have in the country are all in Greater Accra region. If you put Greater Accra together with Ashanti region, we are looking at about 65 to 70% of all medical doctors in the country, and for me that is not fair. The distribution is uneven, and we must do everything it takes for everybody in this country to feel part of the country and to enjoy the benefits we have in the country.
Let's go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to the OT Regional Director of Health, Kofi Amo-Kwadia. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. The Minister has indicated that out of the about 25 persons that have been posted there, a few of the medical officers have actually reported to work. How many are yet to report?
Well, out of the 23 that were posted here, okay, young man, thank you very much for this question and interview. And I must say I'm grateful that we have been brought to the air for everybody to know what is happening in OT so far as health services are concerned. Well, to answer your question, actually 23 doctors were posted to OT. And out of that, only 2 have so far reported. I personally took a phone and called all of them one by one, trying to entice them, encourage them, and give them the moral support to come to OT and work for us. But as we speak now, only 2 have reported.
The Minister also urged health facilities in the region to incentivize these medical officers who are posted to these regions and, of course, provide them with accommodation as well. Are these some of the challenges why the medical officers are refusing to be posted to the area?
Actually, the Minister urged the community, I mean the MCs, and then DCs, MPs, and all stakeholders to come together to incentivize, health workers, not the health facilities. Because the health facilities are already overburdened with a lot of challenges. So how are they going to get the money to incentivize them? But then the Minister actually met all of us and urged all of us as stakeholders to come together to think of a way of incentivizing and attracting the health workers.
And how is their unwillingness to come to their posted region affecting healthcare delivery in the OT region?
Well, it is adversely affecting service delivery in the region because we've had some of our facilities being downgraded because of lack of personnel to man them. You see, and services that are actually rented at a normal hospital will not obviously be rented in the absence of the doctor. You see, so it has basically affected the general of health service rate there.
You mentioned earlier that only 3 of the 23 individuals
only 2
of the 23 medical officers who were posted to the area have reported. Now that you've made calls and they are refusing to come despite the calls that you've made, what are you going to do about this?
Well, we will continue calling them, and now I think the problem is not in our court anymore, but rather the Minister of Health and then all other stakeholders. The challenge is in our court, not on the court of the Health Directorate alone, because we will always continue to do our best to entice them to come. But we can't really also go and pack their things from their homes and virtually bring them here. So they should also go a little way to really understand that, yes, we are all in a country and our people have all contributed one way or the other to their schooling, so they should understand to give back to those of us who find ourselves in challenging situations.
When you called the other 21 medical officers who have refused to turn up, what reasons did they give you?
Well, some completely said they will not come. Reasons being that they have their children somewhere, some have just gotten married, and some, I have another option. So, normally when you post them to this place, what they do is that they stay away and then maneuver their ways to get into places like Greater Accra and Ashanti region, where they can find locum to do whilst working with the government institutions. For instance, in OT here, if you come to work as a doctor, you may not find any locum to do to support your salary. And we all know how the salaries are, but then there is nothing anybody can do about it because we are serving our country. You see, so we have to give in a little to serve the country.
Right.
So, I mean, that is the situation.
Right. There has been sporadic conflicts in Nkwanta in the OT region in recent times. Is that one of the reasons they give for their unwillingness to come to their posted region?
Well, that is partly a reason, but I won't put it down on the conflict in Nkwanta because before the conflict even erupted, and I mean, people were refusing to have accept postings to this place, and even the conflict is only at one place in Nkwanta, one district out of the 9 districts.
Right.
So why are they using that as a reason for not accepting posting to the other, assuming that is their reason?
Right.
Why wouldn't they then accept posting to the other 8 districts?
Okay. Kofi Amon-Kodia, thank you very much. This is the OT Regional Health Director. And that's it for The Pulse this evening. We came to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle. Thank you very much. The news team returns at 7 p.m. with Joy News Prime. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Have a good evening.